This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Coming up a little later on in the program, we're going to get a look at the closing markets and see how things shook out today. But first, we're going to hear from EPA Administrator Zeldin with a big announcement on the right to repair and what EPA is doing for guidance.
Today, we are issuing guidance out of the Trump EPA to make abundantly clear that if you own your farm and other non-road diesel equipment, you have the right to fix it. And this might seem like a no-brainer, but ask any American farmer and they will tell you about the headaches and costly hassles that they have been forced to endure at the hands of equipment manufacturers. Unfortunately, equipment manufacturers have misused the Clean Air Act by falsely claiming that environmental laws prevented them from making essential repair tools or software available to all Americans. Because of this misinterpretation of the law, manufacturers have limited the ability of farmers and independent repair shops to repair equipment. Instead of a farmer being able to fix their own equipment in the field or bring it down the road to their local repair shop, farmers have been forced to rely solely on authorized dealers for essential repairs, which are not always close by. For farmers, timing is everything. When equipment breaks down during planting or harvesting, delays can result in thousands of dollars in lost productivity. Being forced to haul machinery to a certified dealership, pay higher prices for repairs, and wait in line, it's not just inconvenient. It can prove to be very economically damaging. This has also prompted many farmers to continue using older equipment that they can still repair themselves, despite newer machines being cleaner, safer, and more efficient. The Clean Air Act was written to ensure clean air for all Americans, not to lock farmers into expensive repairs. EPA is issuing guidance that stands up for America's farmers and small businesses while following the Clean Air Act exactly as it is written. Our guidance to manufacturers reaffirms that the Clean Air Act clearly states that farmers and equipment owners are allowed to temporarily override emission systems when it is for the purpose of repair, and as long as the repair returns the equipment to compliance. The guidance applies to non-road diesel engines equipped with advanced emission control technologies. This includes making repairs to diesel exhaust fluid DEF systems on non-road diesel engines. The agency is working to build upon the DEF guidance EPA issued this summer. It was announced alongside Secretary Rollins and Administrator Loeffler while we were in Iowa, which urged engines and equipment manufacturers to revise the DEF system software in existing vehicles and equipment. In the meantime, today's right to repair guidance will allow farmers to be able to fix broken DEF systems right there at home or in the fields, saving them time and money. There will be no more misinterpretations or claiming of not knowing the rules by manufacturers. Today's right to repair guidance does not weaken environmental or emission standards. It does not change the law or the Clean Air Act, and it does not reduce compliance obligations. What it does do is stop the law from being misused to block common sense repairs. EPA's guidance is expanding consumer choice and encouraging the use of newer farm equipment, all of which is excellent for ensuring clean air for all Americans. This is about fairness, competition, and independence. Farmers should be able to choose where and how their equipment is repaired, whether that's by themselves, a local mechanic, or a dealer. We're protecting the right to repair, supporting American farmers and small businesses, and staying true to EPA's mission of protecting human health and the environment, all while powering the great American comeback. Now, as I mentioned this past August, while I was in Iowa, we announced a massive reversal of deratements to that very annoying DEF issue where all of a sudden in the middle of a harvest, maybe that equipment, that tractor might just stop working altogether. This is about applying common sense, something that President Trump often reminds the members of his team and his cabinet to apply at every opportunity.
And that again was EPA Administrator Zeldin here on Ag Matters PM. And it's time to run down the closing markets. And for that analysis, we're going to go to Corey Bratland of agmarket.net. Corey, I know grain started off a little bit slower today. Is that how they ended up?
Hey, Dustin. Yeah, grains did. They were actually a little bit lower on the overnight or early this morning. They actually kind of stabilized a little bit. We still had that on the day. Corn down 2 to 3 cents. Soybeans down about 4 to 5 cents. And wheat's kind of typical. It kind of took it the hardest down about 8 to 10 cents in here. But overall, I didn't feel like grains, they were down, like I say, down a little bit worse in the overnight sessions. But, then we also had the outside markets were pressuring the markets as well in here.
So what was it that did put that pressure on here today?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is having to stem with the weather down in Argentina or South America is changing a little bit. We got some cooler temps coming for Argentina, along with some good chances of rain. So Brazil is busy harvesting what should be a record and record soybean crop right now. The big question we have is just how big is it? Okay. Also, we had some peace talks kind of talking between the U.S. and Iran. They're going to meet, I believe, later on this week in Turkey, kind of talk over a few things. So that kind of settled down the crude oil market a little bit, really pulled crude off its highs and down, $3 a barrel here today. But overall, like I say, corn and soybeans, we're starting to get down to that lower end of the range that we've been in here lately. And we're starting to find a little bit of support these prices here.
Well, I know when we started the day, cattle and hogs were both on the positive side of it. Were they able to hold on to those gains today?
Yeah, they were. Friday we had a very friendly cattle inventory report in here, so that actually helped. Cattle were up $3.5 earlier today. Yeah, they ended up around $3 in the day. Feeder cattle up close to $6, $5.50 to $6 across the board. So just seeing some stronger markets there. They did back off their highs a little bit. I'm suspicion we've seen a little bit of hedging come in here on these cattle as we're getting up to some of the highest levels that we had here since late this fall. Hog market as well caught a little a bit here today and actually up between $1.50 higher.
All right. Well, folks want to look at some of the things that you guys are following in the markets and maybe make some talk about some plans they want to make, maybe with the 26 crop and the last bit of marketing there. What's the best way for them to get in touch and get that ball started?
Yeah, head on over to our website, which is agmarket.net, and you can get a hold of us there.
All right, Corey Bratland's been with us here today. Thanks so much for the insight, Corey. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dustin.
And we thank the folks from agmarket.net for that market analysis. Let's take a look at how the markets closed on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network market screen. At the close, March corn down 2.5 at 4.25 3/4. Soybeans are down 4 at 10.60 1/4. Soybean meal 90 cents higher at 294.50. Soy oil 31 cents lower at 53.20. Chicago wheat down 10 1/4 at 5.27 3/4. Kansas winter wheat down 9 1/2 at 5.35 1/4. Kansas spring wheat was down 8 3/4. That's at 5.65 even. Minneapolis spring wheat down 6 3/4 at 5.71 1/2. Oats down 6 at $3 3/4. On the Merck, live cattle up $2.32 at 238.17. Feeders up $6.07 at 366.35. Lean hogs 50 cents higher at 87.75. Pork cutouts unchanged at 97.95. And Class 3 milk 13 cents lower at 15.32. And that's been the end of the closing markets, and that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.